devil temple. Christian from the Caribbean and music is a part of we life. Yeah, we dance and raise flag, but represent Jesus Christ. Can't promote no reveling, cause the Bible not tell me them thing is sin. Used to do them thing before, but Jesus cleansed me from deep within. So no more partying, no more drinking, no. Cause Jesus saved me, but me dance when the gospel hit me. Caribbean Christian and dancing in my blood. Caribbean Christian and dancing in my blood, my blood. Caribbean Christian and dancing in my blood. Caribbean Christian and dancing in my blood, my blood. Don't hold me, let me dance. Don't hold me, let me dance. Oh yeah, let me dance to Jesus. Let me dance to Jesus. Oh yeah, dance to Jesus. Oh yeah. Young and old, come along. Everyone can do it. No worry about nothing. It ain't got no weight limit. Cause this party is heavenly. That's the problem gone away. It's a new kind of dancing. Can lead you to your healing. So get up and dance. Dance your problem them away. I know you've been waiting long, but your breakthrough is today. Forget about every negative thing. Get up and dance into your blessing. It might look confusing, but it's Caribbean.
Greetings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Welcome, everyone, to another program, Youths with a Difference. It's a pleasure having you today. We are coming to you from the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago in Trinidad. Today, you are looking at us for the very first time. Youths with a Difference, we feature the young and the young at heart in Christ. This is a generation with a lot to offer. A generation, they are making a difference, a great difference in the world, worldwide. As a matter of fact, in every generation, youths would continue to make a difference. And listen to me, we don't want to be selfish today, so I want to ask you to share the life. Share the life, tag someone, tell someone, don't miss out. We have something fabulous going on today at Youths with a Difference. Go to our YouTube page and subscribe. It's a blessing. And listen to me, we have a grand blessing for you today. Today we are featuring a beautiful young woman. Her name is Sydney Sampson Fonrose. Sydney is 15 years of age and she's a proud product of Jackson Place, East Dry River, Port of Spain. She attends Holy Name Convent in Port of Spain and enjoys archery and violin. Cindy is one of 50 child rights ambassadors of Trinidad and Tobago. She's an active member of the Port of Spain Youth Choir, founded by Miss Lauren Grandison. Cindy, good evening. Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon.
To Youths with a Difference. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm great. I know we have it's been raining most of the day, so it's sort of overcast still, and I would say a bit cold. You know, but what? We in here, it's a fiery evening for us. It's warm, it's awesome, it's nice. So, my dear, 15 years of age, and you know, I'm so thrilled because at 15, I think you are doing so much. You are a very active 15-year-old. Tell me something, Sydney. How was life as a younger child growing up in Jackson Place, East Dry River?
So, life growing up in Jackson Place was always, I want to say that I was very happy. My childhood was very happy. My mom made it the best for me. And there was always a sense of community in Jackson Place, Mangroves, and there wasn't any bad blood or anything between anybody. Everybody just had fun. I had all my cousins, so it was really a great experience growing up in Jackson Place, East
I,
Drivable.
I could understand because I grew up in Pisgalands. And let me tell you
Hmm.
something. It was like family.
Yeah, it was.
No?
Even if the person wasn't your family, they were your family.
You felt like family because everyone looked out for each other.
Everybody looks out for everybody.
Exactly. You were a past participant of the program We Say Yes Entrepreneurship and Self-Development for Youth. Tell us about that program.
So, as a lot of people may know, Jackson Place, Mangroves, those places, we usually have a stigma for the children behaving bad or giving trouble. And We Say Yes was just a place on Saturdays where they would take us out of our environment and we would have classes not only to develop ourselves, but we also had fun. We had bake sales, chow sales. They taught us about manners, all these different things that somebody may not be learning at home, or something that even a normal 6 year old, 7 year old wouldn't learn at that age. So we had etiquette classes, all those different things, and it was really, really fun. And when I graduated, I had the opportunity to go back and speak to some of the children that were now in the program. And it was really great to see them having a good time.
Awesome. Just awesome. I know you are at 15, you are currently preparing for exams next year.
Yes, I am.
Um, I don't know what subject you choose, but what is your career path?
My subject area is sciences. So I aspire to be a chemical engineer. So that's what I want to do for now, because I have wanted to do it for a couple years, but something may happen and I might change it. So for now, it's chemical engineering.
Ah, that's great. You go at it, girl. I
Thank
mean,
you.
being a child rights ambassador, you know, I think you are able to conquer
Thank you so much.
what you are setting out to do. But tell us, Sydney. We hear about human rights, we hear about animal rights, we hear about so many kind of rights. What does being a child rights ambassador entails?
So, being a child rights ambassador entails basically advocating and standing up for the rights of a child, and not only the rights of a child, but what it takes to raise a well rounded individual. And we also have to really push it not only to the children and get it out there to them, but also to the adults, because child rights starts with adults, and without the adults, children wouldn't know their rights. So it's the job of the parents, which is why I not only target children but adults as well, so that they will be able to educate their children.
I like that. I really thought the target was only children, but I learned
No, I
something.
target everybody. I want everybody
Everyone.
to hear.
And say again, repeat why you target the adults.
I target the adults because in order for a child to get the knowledge, they have to learn it from somewhere. Someone has to teach them. So let's say the adult knows and the adult tells them every day, listen, you have the right to be respected, you have the right to privacy. It will become instilled in their head. It's not just something that they're going to come up with on their own. It has to be instilled in them in order for them to carry it out and for them to also respect other children's rights.
Very well. And Sydney, why do you think children need their own separate set of rights?
I think that children need their own separate set of rights because we see nowadays, we take child labor for instance. As an adult, you have to work in order to provide for yourself and your family, or whoever it may be, you have to work. But a child shouldn't have to work in order to provide for themselves. That's why there's also the right, a child has the right to be free of child labor. So you see all these different things separating it, as well as a child has the right to play. An adult may not necessarily need to play, they may need free time, but a child has the right to play. So we really have to separate the rights because when children are growing up, they need a certain amount of not rules, but yeah, rules to bring them up. A child has the right to water, all these different things. So that's why I think it's important for child rights to be separate from human rights.
Very well. Folks, before we continue, we're going on a break. We will be back. But before we go on that break, I want to shout out some people in the house. I knew you are in the house. Candace Sampson, Sydney's mother, are you in the house? Lika Maloney, Jello John, Jillian Jackson Smart. Hi, Jilly, you in the house? Great, nice having you all. Wonderful. Be blessed as we continue. We're going on a break. We will be back, folks.
When they ask me where I'm from the Caribbean, and I'm a Christian boy. Oh lad, oh lad. Nothing wrong with dancing. Part of our culture. No ways rotating, no. Don't let the devil tempt you. Christian from the Caribbean, and music is a part of our life. Yeah, we dance and raise flag, but represent Jesus Christ. Yeah, promote no reveling, cause the Bible not tell me them thing is sin. Used to do them thing before, but Jesus cleansed me from deep within. So no more partying, no more drinking, no. Cause Jesus saved me, but me dance when the gospel hit me. Caribbean Christian, and dancing in my blood. Caribbean Christian, and dancing in my blood, my blood. Caribbean Christian, and dancing in my blood. Caribbean Christian, and dancing in my blood, my blood. Don't hold me, let me dance. Don't hold me, let me dance. Oh yeah, let me dance to Jesus. Let me dance to Jesus. Oh yeah, dance to Jesus. Oh yeah.
Welcome back, folks. It's nice having you in the house. It's different. Just in case you just join us, we are featuring today beautiful 15-year-old Sydney Sampson Fonrose. Sydney is a child rights ambassador. Sydney, what led you to become a child rights ambassador?
So, when I was younger, I was actually a victim of sexual assault, and I always had the passion for speaking to people. If someone would come to me and tell me that they had a problem, I would try my best to help them out with it. So, I always had the passion for it, and I always wanted to bring awareness to sexual assault on children. And when I heard about the program, I was like, why should I only choose sexual assault when I have the opportunity to advocate for all these rights? Because around the world, we have children with no water, no food. Even right here in Trinidad, we have children with no shelter or no protection. So instead of just advocating for sexually assaulted children, why not advocate for everybody? Advocate for all the rights of a child.
And we are living in a time now, especially in this pandemic, where children are being abused. Not only in our country, but throughout the world. Children are being abused more than ever. And tell me something, why you think this is happening through this pandemic time? Is it because of frustration
I
The
think
parents,
frustration is definitely a factor in why it is happening, but if you really love your child, then you shouldn't be frustrated to the point where you need to hit them or even verbally abuse them, because verbal abuse is just as bad, if not worse, than physical abuse, because it goes with you for the rest of your life, just like physical abuse. Another factor is that people at home now. So children, even if they were being abused before, they still had an escape. They could go out, they could go to school, all these different things. But now everybody's just trapped at home. So we see a rise in child abuse, domestic violence, neglect, all these different things. So I think there's a lot of factors in it, but it should never be okay.
never. Abuse of no kind to a child. See not be on child rights
Child rights,
issue. Abuse of no kind
acceptable
is acceptable.
or excusable.
Or I like that. Or excusable. Because sometimes, I think we our country, we are a culture where we make excuse for everything.
For everything.
Everything we have a very good excuse. But
Mm-hmm.
we want to say today, if you are looking at us as parents, you may think I'm not hitting on my child. So I'm not an abuser, but you may be cursing.
And telling them that they're
Yes,
not good enough. All these things add up to what they will become in the future, and also what they look for people in the future. Friends not supposed to tell you that you're not good enough or you can't make it. They're supposed to encourage you. So parents, encourage your children, because when they go out there, they know exactly what to look for in a friend or even associates. They know this person is encouraging me, and that's what my parents taught me. So I know that I'm safe and secure in this person. We could have a friendship.
very nice. Do you think that parents are doing enough? Are they
I
speaking to their
think
children enough?
I think that in Trinidad, there is, especially in Trinidad, all around the world, but especially in Trinidad, there is a lot of parents disregarding, I want to say, mental health. If your child comes to you and tells you, you know what, not having the best thoughts, these things, you're not supposed to tell them, no, it will pass, or these things. You're supposed to speak to them. So for parents to be doing enough, they need to be well-rounded parents, because nobody is going to be perfect, but at least try to have a conversation with them every day. Ask them how their day was, how's school going, what about your friends, what about this one. Show interest in them, because again, that's what they look for in the world. Whatever you show them is what they look for in the world. So ask them how their day was. If you ask them 3 4 times, if they get upset, no, ask them and ask them and ask them again.
That makes a lot of difference
That
in
makes a
knowing
big
your child.
difference.
Very nice. Um, Tell me, Sydney, how was or is your recovery process from sexual assault? How is your recovery
So
process?
my recovery process has been, I don't want to give people false hope, because it's something that you live with forever. It's not something that happens and then you go to therapy and then boom, you forget about it. Is something that's continuously ongoing and something that you have to continuously work on yourself with, because there are sometimes I might see somebody, workman in the yard, and I pass the next way. So when I had the conversation with my mom, she said, nothing is wrong with taking precautions, but it sounds like you're just avoiding the problem. So it takes a lot of work, and you really have to believe in yourself. I'm not saying to the people listening that you won't get out of the situation, because I got out of the situation, but I just want to let you know that it's never really over. It's a continuous thing, and one day, even though it may still pain, you'd be able to deal with it as well as look back and say, hey, this happened to me. It wasn't the best situation at all, but now I could speak to somebody else and give them advice as well as encourage them that they could make it out.
What do you think should happen to sex abusers? How do you think the state should deal with sex abusers?
To me
Children.
personally, I believe that obviously they should be locked up. But to the people that are being abused, I think that forgiveness is always the best way. Not for them, but for you to have your peace of mind, because at the end of the day, they did this and they don't even care. Because if they did care, they wouldn't do it in the first place. So forgiveness is always best for you and your peace of mind. But I think that they should be locked up once caught, and a proper investigation should be held, because we see a lot of times, even when I had my issue, when I went to the police station, it seemed as though the officer who took the report didn't believe me, because she kept asking, are you sure this is what happened? Are you sure this is what happened? And I understand that they have to make sure that my story is lining up and it is the truth. But when you come to a child like that, you make them feel to revert, because now they're thinking, oh, so you don't believe me, nobody else will believe me. So it's best I just don't say anything at all. So I believe that they should be locked up, in my opinion.
What about treatment?
Treatment for
Yeah.
me, I think that not only the people who are abused should have therapy, but also the abusers, because clearly something is wrong with you for you to disturb a child like that.
What
Something
sort
is
of treatment do you think they need? Counseling? Um,
counseling, therapy, something, because we need to find out what is going on in your head. Because
mhm.
let's say you get 8 years, I'm not going to be a child anymore,
That's
but
right.
there are going to be other children.
That's
So if
right.
you want to be released in 8 years, we have to find out what is going on in your head, and not only figure it out, but for want of a better word, to get it correct. Because when you
Yes.
come out, we're just going to be repeating a cycle. So I think that it's important for them to have counseling, therapy, whatever you want to call it, as well as the victims to have counseling and therapy. To me personally, and I told my mom this, I found that therapy didn't, not it didn't work for me, but I didn't really like it, because therapy is the second worst thing, because you reliving the encounter
Yes.
every time you
Yes.
have a therapy session. So, but I trust the therapist, and I trust that they are trained, and if I have to repeat it 600 times, that they want the best for me. So you just have to go until you find the right therapist for you, somebody that you feel comfortable with. And
Yes.
yeah.
Do you think the abusers should be placed on a sexual offenders list where everyone should know, okay, this person is an abuser to children, and should be, people should be careful of having their children around that person? What do you think about that?
I do. That's actually a kind of not controversial topic, but one in my head,
Mm-hmm.
because I believe that people can change, but as well, there's one in a million, one in five, somebody who is a sex offender might change. So, what about the other four? So, to protect children, I think that they should be on a list, and as best as they can, try to change, try to find out what is going on in their mind. But I do believe in change. I believe that somebody can change. So yeah, it's
Sydney, you
kind
know
of
what?
toss up in my head.
I think you are so intelligent beyond your age. I
Thank
am
you.
I'm listening to you and I'm applaud you are so intelligent beyond your age. And on this note, we'll go for another break and we will be back, folks.
When they ask me where I'm from the Caribbean, and I'm a Christian boy. Oh lad, oh lad. Nothing wrong with dancing, part of our culture. No way rotating, no. Don't let the devil tempt you. Christian from the Caribbean, and music is a part of our life. Yeah, we dance and raise flag, but we represent Jesus Christ. Yeah, promote no reveling, cause the Bible don't tell me them thing is sin. Used to do them thing before, but Jesus cleansed me from deep within. So no more partying, no more drinking, no. Cause Jesus saved me, but me dance when the gospel hit me. Heard me and Christian, and dancing in my blood. Heard me and Christian, and dancing in my blood, my blood. Heard me and Christian, and dancing in my blood. Heard me and Christian, and dancing in my blood, my blood. Don't hold me, let me dance. Don't hold me, let me dance. Oh yeah, let me dance to Jesus. Let me dance to Jesus. Oh yeah, dance to Jesus. Oh yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here with the beautiful Sydney Sampson Fonrose. Yes, beautiful Sydney Sampson Fonrose, child rights ambassador. Sydney, what are some preventative measures parents or guardian can take to protect their children from sex abusers? In your opinion, what are
In my
some preventative
opinion,
measures?
yeah, in my opinion, I believe that being involved in your child's life is always a plus, whether preventing from sexual abusers or not, but also to have conversations with them every day. Like I said before, ask them how the day was. If especially if you know that you send them by someone that they're not accustomed going by, ask them how was your day, what you did today. Even if you ask them what you had to eat, make sure and be involved in their life. That's the number one thing, to be involved in their life, as well as to listen when they come to you and tell you that I don't feel comfortable going here. Because the first step is to put them in the position, or even if you feel like you, as the parent, don't feel comfortable sending your child, say, well, I know, and I'm really comfortable with sending you by this friend because of so reasons. So you'll have to stay home today or whatever. Make sure you listen to them, as well as if you have a feeling, don't. Because that's always how it starts. You know, I had a feeling that this was going on, but I didn't really take it on. So make sure and be involved in their lives, as well as trust yourself and your child.
And very nice. And as a child, at what age you think parents should start to tell their children, and when I say I mean both girls and boys, about sex, about inappropriate touch? At what age do you think as a child? Let me hear your answers as a child. What age do you think
I
parents should
think
have that discussion?
I think that as about from the age where you start to send them out at daycare, and well, obviously not daycare because you might send them at 4 months and those stuff, but from the time one hits and they start to walk and they start to
Yeah.
talk and this stuff, because I have my cousin, he's 5, and he said, no, my mommy said you can't bathe me. So really instilling them, this is a good touch. A handshake is a good touch. If you feel uncomfortable with somebody touching you on your back or something, then abort it. That's it. Come and tell me something. So I think from the age of 2, 3 is a good age to start to teach them about who should be bathing you. Your parents should be bathing you. If they send you by a relative, they say, here what? okay, um, auntie, this is going to bathe you today, and that's okay.
We have good touch also and bad touch.
Yeah, I actually
Yeah?
sang a song about that in my calypso competition in primary school.
Good touch and bad touch.
Yeah.
And I noticed we have some advertisement, coming from the side of the government, you know, telling children about good touch, bad touch, and all these kind of things. Children, if they are listening to, let's say, calypso, they would understand the words of that calypso and remember it so well that I would sing the words so well, for
Yeah,
you.
one of the biggest things of our generation is music. So you see that almost every child or one in three children, they love music and these
Yes.
stuff, and that's what they use to cope. So if you put that message in the music and they constantly hearing it, then
Wow.
that's a plus on them.
This is what I'm thinking. We parents have to find ways in
Mm-hmm.
getting the message across, because getting it across to one child in a particular way may not be reaching another child. So
Mm-hmm.
parents need to know their children and know how to get the message across,
Yeah,
because
because my cousin and I are actually polar opposites. She's more of an art person, and I'm more of a straightforward person. So maths is my thing, chemistry, those stuff, and theater is her stuff. So she mightn't understand my maths problem in the way. So take it like that. We have the left and right side of the brain. So some children are more dominant in their right side, some are more dominant in their left side. So you have to find what really works for your child. If it isn't like art, let them paint about the experience or draw the rights of a child on a cardboard paper and put it in their room or wherever in the kitchen somewhere, or just give them it to put in their bag or keep on them. Or if the child is more of a maths person, put it in a maths problem. 1 plus 1 equals 2, and number one is all right, a child has the right to food, and number two is a child has the right to water. So you just have to find what really works for your child.
Sydney, you are awesome. You are awesome. I'm going to ask you a question. This question is mostly being asked to adults. As a child, what do you think of domestic violence against women?
So personally, I believe, and we see in Trinidad today, and even in the world, with people being trapped, that not only do we see a rise in child abuse, but we also see a rise in domestic violence. And I believe that it shouldn't ever be right, or you shouldn't ever have the feeling to put your hands on a woman or anyone for that matter, but we're talking about domestic abuse. So you shouldn't feel to put your hand on a woman, and if you have that feeling, then you know that something is clearly wrong with yourself first. So before you look to put yourself in a relationship with somebody else, make sure that you have all your stuff going on in your head in a gear, so that you learn how to treat someone respectfully, and domestic abuse is not respectful. So that shouldn't be a question. It shouldn't be okay.
And women have to also learn
Yes.
what kind of treatment to
Yes,
accept.
because we see a lot, we speak about the women, but there are a lot of men out there who are being abused by women as well. So respect goes both ways. You should respect your partner as your husband, and you should respect your partner as your wife.
Girl, you are so brilliant. You trump the
Thank
gun, because I was coming to ask you about the men, domestic violence against men, because sometimes people tend to talk about it so one-sided, and we focus
you.
only on the women, and there are a lot of men who are being abused. And the thing about it, it's more difficult for
So
a
because
man to report domestic
domestic abuse.
violence than a woman or
Because
abuse.
if we're being honest, they'll faster believe a woman in that situation. So it's also hard on the men that are being abused.
Yes, because at times they are laughed at,
Yeah.
they are looked down at as
And
weak.
yeah, they're looked down and as weak, and also that they're not masculine or something as well. Same thing with when men cry. Everybody goes through problems. So
Yes,
if it can happen to a woman, I believe that it can happen to a man as well. Even in sexual assault, they say women, but men experience sexual assault as well.
that's right. And we have to start to change the narrative where the focus is only on women,
Mm-hmm.
and men are there crying out silently. They don't even want to tell an ex male friend because it's such a taboo,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But domestic violence to anyone is not acceptable
Not acceptable.
at all, at all,
Or
at
like
all,
we
at all.
said earlier, excusable.
Neither excusable. So if you are looking at us and you are a domestic violent abuser, we want to say stop.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are looking at us and you are being abused, you know, we want to say stop also. You don't have to accept abuse from anyone. It is not right. It is not acceptable. Let me shout out some people again here, Sydney, on the live. We have Candice Dates in the house. Jello John is in the house. Who else is in the house? Jennifer Cumberbatch is in the house. Way, yes. Welcome, people. Thanks for being here. At this note, we're going to go on another break and we will be back. So get a little snack. Call your tanty, your nene, and your uncle. You still have time, they could catch in on something. Tell them, look, Candice, tell them that we have a beautiful young woman who is on today, Sydney Sampson Fonrose, and she's talking about she's an advocate, a child abuse ambassador. So tell them to come on and listen. It's not too late, okay?
When they ask me where I'm from the Caribbean, and I'm a Christian boy. Oh lad, oh lad. Nothing wrong with dancing. Part of our culture. No ways rotating, no. Don't let the devil tempt you. Christian from the Caribbean, and music is a part of our life. Yeah, we dance and raise flag, but we represent Jesus Christ. Yeah, promote no reveling, cause the Bible don't tell me them thing is sin. Used to do them thing before, but Jesus cleansed me from deep within. So no more partying, no more drinking, no. Cause Jesus saved me, but me dance when the gospel hit me. Caribbean Christian, and dancing in my blood. Caribbean Christian, and dancing in my blood, my blood. Caribbean Christian, and dancing in my blood. Caribbean Christian, and dancing in my blood, my blood. Don't hold me, let me dance. Don't hold me, let me dance. Oh yeah, let me dance to Jesus. Let me dance to Jesus. Oh yeah, dance to Jesus. Oh yeah.
Welcome back, folks. And we are here with Sydney Sampson Fonrose. Sydney, tell me something. People are looking at us today. This program goes far and wide. And people are going to continue to look at this program as it's going to be continuing on social media. And all type of people are going to be looking at you today. And as a time, throughout months, could be years ahead, what advice will you give to someone looking at this program and is going through sexual abuse, or a matter of fact, any type of abuse? What advice would you give to them? They are in this situation now.
I want to believe that what I would say to them is to always believe that there's a way out, because from the time you give up is as good as not making it out. So always believe that there is a way out, as well as it may be hard and it is an uncomfortable conversation to come forward and tell somebody or go to the police or something, because this person might be somebody close to you or somebody you love. That's who your abuser may be. So it's always uncomfortable, but you have to take the first step in the direction of doing what's best for yourself, bettering yourself, learning to love yourself. And in the long run, that would just be the best thing that you could ever do. If you're an adult, when you get older and you look back on it and you say, I'm glad that I had the courage to do what needed to be done in order for my life to turn out how it is now.
Excellent. I'm thinking about a position as a child. What if the abuser is promising to kill you, to take your life if you tell anyone? What should that person do?
Well, I'm going to share something personal with you. That was actually part of my experience. If you tell this person, I'll hit you with this, I'll hit you with that. And I was younger than I am now, and I didn't have the knowledge that I have now because of the situation. So I think that it's always best to go for it and take the risk, because let's say, oh gosh, I don't want to tell you. I really don't want to give anybody wrong advice. I just gonna say, in my opinion, I would always say that it's best to try, to always try, because you might get out. So it's always the what if. But in my opinion, I think that you should try. Try to tell someone, and most likely, if they're telling you these things, they want you to be afraid. So what you need to do is be courageous, pull out whatever you have from inside of you, pull out the courage from somewhere to tell someone to go to the police station, to do all these things for yourself. Because you're not doing it for them, you're doing it for yourself first.
Sydney, you know what? I 100% and more agree with you. No matter how much your life is being threatened, always tell someone. You are listening to us today and you are being sexually abused or whatever, and your life is being threatened. I say to you, always still tell someone. Don't
Mm-hmm.
keep it a secret. Don't have any secret for any sex abusers. That's not a person to have us to keep a secret for at all. That is a person need to be always exposed.
As well as when you bring them, you only know your experience, but it could be happening to somebody else who, let's say, you have the courage, but you're frightened because they're telling you, I will hurt you with this or something like that. But if you believe that you have the courage, pull it out and tell somebody, because there may be somebody that is really, I can't tell anybody. That's what they believe. If I tell somebody, I don't know what is going to happen. This person is going to kill me. He or she is going to kill me. So do it for yourself and the possible person that could be a victim as well.
I really admire you. I admire your courage, your strength.
Thank you.
And you know, the thing about it, you are doing what at 15, what adults can do, what some adults can do. You are brave, you are courageous.
Thank
And the
you.
thing about it, you are not brave and courageous for yourself, but you are
Because
this.
I didn't. My first interview, speaking about my experience, was last week, Monday. And I remember the Sunday when um the station called, And they said, so we're going to go into your story. And after I told them yes, but after the phone call, I was in the house, I was speaking to my cousin and my mom. I said, tomorrow, everybody is going to know, literally everybody. And I actually felt like telling them, you know what? I don't want to do it again. Let's talk about child rights itself, not my story. But then I realized that when there was nobody to tell me that it was going to be over, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe that it was going to be over. I had to figure it out for myself and come out of it for myself, or at least come forward for myself. Because when I actually told a trusted adult, like they tell you to, the person told me, no, that person would never do that. And then it went on for months after that until I finally told someone. So I realized that there's always going to be a child who is going to be sexually abused after me, or even if an adult is watching this and they're being abused, and they will see that it's okay to come out. You're not going to be, I don't want to say, you're not going to be ostracized or anything like that. You're not going to be put in a box by yourself,
Yes.
because I want them to see that these things happen every day. Not that it's okay, but to come forward is to take the first step. So I don't think that I ever do it for myself, because speaking about my story to everybody, and I don't know who is going to see this, is always scary, but I think that is the best thing to do for others, to help somebody else. So yeah.
I think sex offenders are going to see this. I think the abused
I'm gonna see
also going
this.
to see this. And I mean, you are doing it for so many out there. And someone is going to see this program. And I know they may not come out to us or tell any one of us, but someone is going to see this program and reach out and cry out
To
to
someone
someone
else.
for help. And it is important that you come out and you are speaking about this, because so many people are sheltered in a box now and they don't know how
Mhm.
to come out, how to talk. And I'm sure without a shadow of a doubt that someone is going to be helped through this program today. I know your faith and trust in God play an important part in you being able
Yes.
to comfort. You know, how is your faith um in all of it?
I think that the reason why I am able to speak about it is because of where God has gotten me up until now. Because trust me,
Yes,
I have stories that I
yes,
could tell where I wasn't sure, even after the sexual assault. I have many stories I could tell after where I wasn't sure if I was going to live to be able to tell my story and these stuff. And after all these different things happen, I say, you know what? I have to tell somebody, because
yes.
these things keep continuously happening, and every time something happens, God shake me up again, and I good. And then something happened, and He shake me up again, and I good. He's always, always, always there for me. Even right now, He's here for me. So to have all these different chances and not do anything would be unacceptable, I want to say
Yeah,
to myself, because I know that He didn't make me get sexually assaulted, but it happened. And now that it has happened, I could give people advice from my experience, as well as some of the things that I went through and how I live with it now, because I'm not fully recovered, and I don't want to lie to anybody and say that I am fully recovered. But with the grace of God, I am getting there. And I hope that one day I'll be able to say that I am there. And I look back and I say, oh, I remember when I did this interview with Reverend, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be there, but I just want to say that I I'm very grateful for the opportunity to speak to all of these people listening and show them that there is life after, and to always have faith, always have the drive, always push, because you don't know what is going to be the outcome. You don't know where you could be 10 years from now if you take the push, if you have the courage to say something.
Very well. I want to shout out some people again. June Melville. June Melville is looking at us from Tobago. And
Hi.
Candice, not, I keep on Candice, Sydney. People are saying things on the live. Here, Overcomer, Anissa Hassan is saying, if they say they will hurt you, they are trying to intimidate you. The abuser
Yeah,
is injecting you with fear. Always tell someone, a trusted adult or one of the safe hotlines. Hear
I
what
always,
yes, and hear what Annie was saying. Well said, young lady. Lillian Noel, she says, keep doing what you are doing. It would sure help someone that is afraid to open up. God bless you.
thank you.
Celia
Because most,
Sampson is in the house.
oh, hi,
Can-
grandma.
That's Grandma.
Yeah, that's my grandma.
Hi, Grandma. Candice Dates is saying, very informative. Wow. And Nero is saying, Han, God continued blessing to you. Jello John is saying your testimony will help someone. So you see, all these people are there, letting to keep your faith,
Yeah.
you know, allow your faith to keep rising in God. I love to tell young people to keep your head on and your spirit sweet. Sydney, tell me something. What is your end game?
Well, my end game is to be the change that I advocate for eventually in Trinidad and Tobago. Also, I want to see the not only decrease but the eventual stop of child abuse and sexual assault. And I know that is going to be a lot of work. And I can't do it by myself because there's going to be somebody out there that will never know who I am or never know what I advocate for. But that's why I always encourage other people to tell somebody this, post something on your status, say something, because I might be able to reach somebody that you could reach. So my end game is, they always say be the change that you want to see in the world. So my end game is basically by the time that I leave this earth, hopefully, God spare my life 70 more years, 100 more years. By the time I leave this earth, I want to be able to say that, not that I reached 100 people, but I touched somebody that they listen to what I had to say, because a lot of people hear what you're saying, but they don't listen. You speak to them and they hear the words coming out your mouth, but they don't listen. So if I have the opportunity to change one person's life or to help somebody get out of a situation then, or even educate somebody, that's my end game. That's what I aspire to do.
Cindy, I'm going to be training here with you. You're too sweet. Too
Thank you.
sweet. Imagine if you have the opportunity to change one person. You too sweet. And you you have places to go. You're going
Thank
to reach
you.
far. When I say far, God is going to take you places. Not only with this topic or with this subject, God is going to take you places that you will be baffled because you have so much to offer.
Thank you.
You have so much to give. You are a challenge to so many young people. So many young people will have so much to learn from you. I see you as a shining star in your school, a pillar that others can look up to. I want to encourage you, as I said before, keep your head on and your spirit sweet. No, we don't
Thank
allow
you.
anyone to come onto this program and not pray for them before we are finished. But before I pray for you, do you want to say anything to anyone, or do you want to shout out anyone, or do you want to tell people of the numbers
Right.
abused ones can call, or your Instagram handle?
Yeah. So,
Feel free.
firstly, I'll give you my information. My Instagram is Child Rights Ambassador. I think you see it on the screen. Child Rights Ambassador, all lowercase, dot SSF, as in Sydney, Sampson, Fonrose, dot TT, Trinidad and Tobago. That's Child Rights Ambassador, dot SSF, dot TT, and the number that you can call for the child line is 800 4321. That's 800 4321. And yeah, those are the numbers that I have here, but you can always message me if you have a problem on Instagram, and I can direct you to a place where you could get proper help, as well as I like to say hi to my mom because I know she's outside listening, and all my family for always supporting me, as well as my friends.
Granny's also there.
Yeah. Hi, Granny. She's downstairs. And Dominic.
Great. We have online Kristen Carter. Hi, Kristen. Nice having you. Kristen is looking at us from London. Girl, my
Hi.
mind ran on you recently. How things? How you going? Nice having you, Kristen. Blessings to you. Oh, what a pleasure. What a pleasure. What a pleasure. I, you know, I'm in awe with you. I'm really, really, really in awe with you today.
Thank you
You
so
are,
much for having me.
yeah, it's a pleasure. And I have to bring you back because I know you weren't feeling too well this week. I have to bring you back to play that violin for me on this program. So you will be back. I love to look and hear a violin player. So you will be back to play that violin for me very soon. And it's a pleasure having you. You are, you are so awesome. As I tell
Thank
you,
you.
you have much to give. At 15, I admire your intelligence. I admire everything about you. The way you compose yourself, the way you handled this interview and other interviews. I know mommy and granny and friends, everybody is so proud of you. I want to pray with you before we end the program today.
Okay.
Heavenly Father, we thank you. I lift up your daughter Sydney before you. She's called out, she's chosen, she's the apple of your eye. Father God, we pray going to touch her right now from the crown of her head to the sole of her feet. Father God, continue, God, to rest your hands, grab her, let your presence, surround her with your presence. Father, as she go forth, I pray continue to allow your angels to surround her, go with her. Let your presence, oh God, be with her, Father. As she go forth, oh God, with her message of hope to others. Help her to continue, God, to shine her light before men, that they would see her good work and glorify you in heaven. Help her to continue to be a force to be reckoned with. I pray, God, that you take care of her going out and her coming in. Protect her. Be her guide. Be her God. Help her to continue to trust in you as a young person. Help her to continue, God, to put her faith and confidence in you, God. Because you, oh God, will not fail her. I pray, help her, God. I lift up her parents before you, her mommy, her daddy, her granny, her friends, that circle, God, that is a pillar in her life. That circle, God, that stands with her. That circle, God, that is an encouragement. That circle, God, that means a lot to her. I pray, God, you cover each and every one of them. I pray, God, that wherever she go, and as she print her footstep in every sand, that she's going to make a difference in every life. Every life. that she has touched and every life that is going to be touched by her. Continue, God, to keep her. In Jesus' wonderful name I pray. Amen. Sydney, you are so awesome. I want
Thank
you
you.
to continue doing what you do without any fear, but do it with all faith and grace and wisdom. And God is going to use you to touch. I'm not saying Trinidad and Tobago. I'm a person, I like to step out of the box.
Yeah.
God is going to use you to touch the world. You hear me? Remain humble. Remain constant with your faith. Remain constant in your belief. Remain humble and see God raise you up as you had never thought you could be raised up. God bless you, hon. It's nice.
Thank you so much. I also love what you are doing with your program.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. But this is God. And God is going to continue to do what He has set out to do. Keep praying for me. Folks
I
out there,
will.
keep praying for me. Keep praying for this program. Keep praying that souls are going to be touched, lives are going to be saved. We're going to make a difference in the heart of all the listeners or all those here who are watching us. Thank you for being on. You are there listening to us. Thank you for being on. Continue to share. Continue to allow us to make a difference in your life. We thank you and God bless you as we meet again, God's willing, next week, Saturday. God bless.
Bye.
When they ask me where I'm from the Caribbean, and I'm a Christian boy. Oh lad, oh lad. Nothing wrong with dancing, part of our culture. No ways rotating, no. Don't let the devil tempt you. Christian from the Caribbean, and music is a part of our life. Yeah, we dance and raise flag, but we represent Jesus Christ. Yeah, promote no reveling, cause the Bible not tell me them thing is sin. Used to do them thing before, but Jesus cleansed me from deep within. So no more partying, no more drinking, no. Cause Jesus saved me, but me dance when the gospel hit me. Caribbean Christian, and dancing in my blood. Caribbean Christian, and dancing in my blood, my blood. Caribbean Christian, and dancing in my blood. Caribbean Christian, and dancing in my blood, my blood. Don't hold me, let me dance. Don't hold me, let me dance. Oh yeah, let me dance to Jesus. Let me dance to Jesus. Oh yeah, dance to Jesus. Oh yeah, yeah. Young and old, come along. Everyone can do it. No worry about nothing. It ain't got no weight limit. Cause this party is heavenly. That's the problem gone away. It's a new kind of dancing. Can lead you to your healing. So get up and dance. Dance your problem them away. I know you've been waiting long, but your breakthrough is today. Forget about every negative thing. Get up and dance into your blessing. It might look confusing.